My name is Rebecca. I'm 34 years old. 3 days ago, I found out my husband wasn't on a business trip. He was with someone else. And what I did next, well, it changed everything. It destroyed my marriage, my sense of safety, and everything I thought I knew about the man I'd loved for 8 years. Before I tell you what I did, you need to know why I had no choice. Why staying silent would have cost me more than just my pride. It would have cost me my sanity, my dignity, and possibly my life. You have to understand something. Mark wasn't always like this. When we first met, he was everything I'd ever dreamed of. Attentive, romantic. He'd leave little notes in my purse before work. He'd cook dinner on Fridays and we'd dance in the kitchen to old love songs. God, I miss those days. I miss who we were. We got married after 2 years of dating, and for the first 3 years, it was beautiful. We talked about having kids. We bought a house. We built a life together. But somewhere along the way, things changed. It started small. He'd come home late without explanation. He'd snap at me over nothing. When I asked him what was wrong, he'd say I was imagining things. That I was too sensitive, too needy. That work was stressful and I needed to give him space. So I did. I gave him space. I stopped asking questions. I stopped pushing. I blamed myself for being paranoid, for being that wife who couldn't trust her husband. I kept thinking, if I just love him harder, if I just support him more, things will go back to how they used to be. And looking back now, all the signs were there. I just didn't see them until it was almost too late. It was a Tuesday morning when everything came crashing down. Mark had left the day before for what he said was a 3-day business conference in Chicago. He kissed me goodbye at the door, straightened his tie, and told me he loved me. Told me he'd call me that night. But he didn't call. He texted instead. Short, cold messages. Busy. Meetings running late. Talk tomorrow. Something felt wrong. I couldn't explain it, but my gut was screaming at me. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened the Find My Phone app. We'd shared our locations years ago when I was traveling alone, and we just never turned it off. My hands were shaking as the map loaded. Chicago, right? He should be in Chicago. But the pin was in Miami. Miami. My heart stopped. Why would he lie about where he was? Why Miami? I clicked on the location. It dropped me right on a luxury hotel, the Fontainebleau, 5 stars, beachfront, romantic. My stomach turned. I called the hotel, my voice trembling, pretending to be his assistant. Hi, yes, I'm calling to confirm the reservation for Mark Holloway. I just need to verify the booking details. The woman on the other end was so sweet, so unsuspecting. She pulled it up. Oh yes. The suite was booked under the name Jessica Ramirez. Check-in was yesterday, check-out is in 2 days. Ocean view. Is there anything else you need? Jessica Ramirez. The name hit me like a sledgehammer. Jessica. His 26-year-old assistant. The one he'd mentioned casually a few times over the past year. She's just helping out with the new project, babe. Nothing to worry about. But I was worried now. I was panicking. My husband wasn't on a business trip. He was in Miami. With her. In a hotel room she booked. My vision blurred with tears. My chest felt like it was caving in. I couldn't breathe. How long had this been going on? How many business trips had been lies? And when I thought about all the nights I'd waited up for him, all the times I'd defended him to my friends who said he seemed distant, something inside me snapped. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I kept staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the past year, every late night, every canceled date, every time he pulled away when I tried to touch him, every time he told me I was being paranoid. He'd made me feel crazy, like I was the problem, like my intuition was just insecurity. But I wasn't crazy. I was right, and he'd gaslit me into doubting myself. But it got worse, so much worse. Because the next morning, I decided to do some digging. I went through our credit card statements, our bank accounts, anything I could find. And what I found made me sick. Charges to jewelry stores I'd never received gifts from, expensive restaurants on nights he'd told me he was working late, lingerie purchases that never made it into my drawer, flowers sent to an address I didn't recognize. Hotel rooms. So many hotel rooms. This wasn't a one-time thing. This wasn't a mistake. This had been going on for at least a year, maybe more. I found receipts tucked away in his office drawer, romantic weekend getaways while he'd told me he was at conferences. I found text messages he'd forgotten to delete from months ago. "Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. You looked so beautiful today. Couldn't stop thinking about you. She doesn't understand me like you do." She. Me. I was she. The wife. The obstacle. The woman who apparently didn't understand her own husband. I felt like I was drowning. Every breath hurt. My entire marriage had been a lie. And the worst part? He'd made me feel like I was the one who wasn't enough. But nothing prepared me for what I discovered next, because it involved someone I trusted, someone I thought was my friend. I needed to know more. I needed to see the extent of this betrayal with my own eyes, so I did something I never thought I'd be capable of. I booked a flight to Miami, same day. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't make a plan. I just knew I had to see this for myself. I had to confront him. I had to look her in the eyes. I packed a small bag, my hands shaking so badly I could barely zip it closed. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter. I didn't deserve to wear it. And honestly, he didn't deserve to see me wearing it. The flight was torture. 2.5 hours of my mind racing, imagining what I'd find. Would they be in bed together? Would he try to deny it? Would she laugh at me? Would he choose her? I felt humiliated before I'd even landed. But beneath the humiliation was something else, something darker. Rage. Pure, burning rage. He'd stolen a year of my life, maybe more. He'd let me believe I was losing my mind. And for what? For a girl barely out of college who probably didn't even know he was lying to her too? In that moment, I came up with a plan so crazy. I thought I'd lost my mind. But I hadn't. I'd just finally found my spine. I arrived at the Fontainebleau at 4 p.m. The sun was setting over the ocean, painting everything in shades of pink and gold. It should have been beautiful. Instead, it felt like a nightmare. I walked through the lobby in a daze, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. I went straight to the front desk. "Hi, I'm Mrs. Holloway. My husband is staying here and I'm supposed to surprise him, but I forgot the room number. Could you help me?" The clerk smiled, utterly clueless. "Of course. Let me just pull that up for you. Room 1247, 12th floor, Ocean View Suite." I took the elevator up, each floor feeling like an eternity. My hands were clammy, my legs felt weak, but I kept going. I had to. When I reached the door, I stood there for a moment, just staring at the numbers. 1,247. Behind this door was the man I'd promised to love forever, the man who'd promised the same to me, and he was with her. I knocked. 3 solid knocks. I heard movement inside. Shuffling, whispering. Then the door opened, and there he was. Mark, my husband, standing in a hotel robe, his hair messy, his face going from confusion to absolute horror in the span of 2 seconds. "Rebecca?" His voice cracked. What are you doing here?" I didn't answer. I pushed past him into the room. And there she was, Jessica, sitting on the bed in nothing but a hotel towel, her eyes wide with panic. The room smelled like expensive cologne and wine. There were rose petals on the bed, champagne on ice. It was like walking into a romantic postcard. Except I was the wife, the ghost at the feast, the uninvited guest. "Rebecca, listen," Mark started, reaching for me, but I stepped back. "Don't." My voice was cold, hollow. "Don't you dare touch me." Jessica started crying, actual tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't know. I mean, I knew you existed, but he said you were separated. He said you were getting divorced. He said," and that's when he raised his hand toward me, not to hit me, but to grab my arm, to stop me from leaving. His face was panicked, desperate. "Rebecca, please, just let me explain." But he didn't know who he was dealing with. Because I wasn't the same woman who'd let him gaslight me for a year. I wasn't the same woman who'd blamed herself for his distance. I was done. And I had evidence. I had screenshots. I had receipts. I had credit card statements. And I had a lawyer on speed dial. "Explain?" I laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. "Explain what, Mark? Explain how you've been lying to me for over a year. Explain how you've been bringing her to hotels while I waited at home like an idiot. Explain how you spent our anniversary weekend with her while you told me you had to work?" His face went pale. How did I know?" I pulled out my phone, shoving the screenshots in his face. "Because I'm not as stupid as you thought I was. Every charge, every hotel, every lie, I have all of it. And you know what else I have? Access to our joint accounts, which I've already frozen. And I've contacted a lawyer. So whatever you think you're going to say to fix this, save it." Jessica was full on sobbing now. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." "Shut up," I said coldly. I didn't have sympathy for her. Maybe I should have. Maybe she was a victim too. But in that moment, all I saw was the woman in my husband's hotel room, the woman who'd been texting him while I was cooking dinner, the woman who'd been laughing with him while I was crying myself to sleep. Mark tried a different approach. Manipulation. His specialty. "Babe, please, I made a mistake. It was just stress. You've been so distant lately." I felt alone. "Don't you dare blame me for this." My voice rose, all the pain and anger I'd been swallowing for months erupting. "Don't you dare make this my fault. You lied to me. You betrayed me. You made me feel crazy for trusting my own instincts. And now you want to act like I pushed you into her arms?" I was shaking. "You're pathetic." And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, his phone rang. He glanced at it, his face going even whiter. He didn't answer. "Who is it?" I demanded. He hesitated. "Mark." "Who is it?" My mom." His family got involved. And that's when I realized this went so much deeper than I thought. Because here's what I didn't know. Mark's mother had known about Jessica. She'd known for months. She'd met her at a company event. She'd seen them together. And she'd said nothing. Not a word to me. Not a warning. Nothing. She'd let me play the fool. Let me host family dinners and smile through holidays while her son destroyed our marriage. And when I called her that night, furious and heartbroken, you know what she said? "Well, Rebecca, maybe if you'd given him children he wouldn't have strayed." I almost dropped the phone. My hands went numb. "What did you just say?" "I'm just saying," she continued, her voice dripping with condescension. "Mark wants a family. You've been putting it off for years. What did you expect? Men have needs." I couldn't believe it. This woman, who I'd cooked for, cleaned for, respected for 8 years, was blaming me for her son's affair. Blaming me for not getting pregnant fast enough. Blaming me for my husband's lies. I hung up on her. I blocked her number. But the damage was done. His entire family knew, and they'd chosen his side before I'd even had a chance to speak. Over the next day, it got worse. His sister called me, screaming that I was ruining his career by threatening to expose him. His father sent me an email saying I was being hysterical and needed to calm down and think about the family's reputation. The family's reputation, not my pain, not the betrayal, their image. That's all they cared about. But they didn't know I was already one step ahead. Because while they were busy trying to shame me into silence, I was gathering everything I needed to bury him. See, I wasn't just angry anymore. I was calculated. I'd contacted a lawyer the moment I'd landed back home. I'd printed every receipt, every text, every credit card statement. I'd compiled a folder 2 inches thick of evidence. And my lawyer? She smiled when she saw it. "This is airtight," she said. "He doesn't have a leg to stand on." I filed for divorce the next morning. No mediation. No, let's try to work this out. just divorce. And I didn't just ask for half, I asked for the house, I asked for alimony, I asked for everything I was legally entitled to after 8 years of supporting his career, moving for his jobs, putting my dreams on hold while he climbed the corporate ladder. And you know what? I was going to get it. But Mark wasn't going down without a fight. He tried everything. First, he tried love bombing me. Flowers delivered to my door every day. Texts saying he was sorry, that he'd made a mistake, that he'd go to therapy, that he'd do anything. I blocked his number. Then he tried bargaining. He offered to give me the house if I'd just keep quiet about the affair, if I'd just sign a non-disclosure agreement. He was terrified I'd tell people at his work. Terrified it would ruin his precious reputation. I refused. I wasn't signing anything that silenced me. This was my story too. My pain. And I had every right to tell it. So then, he tried intimidation. He showed up at my door at 11 p.m., drunk, pounding on the door, screaming that I was ruining his life, that I was a vindictive, bitter woman who couldn't let go, that I was trying to destroy him. My neighbor called the cops. When they arrived, Mark tried to play the victim. She's my wife, I just want to talk to her. But I had a lawyer, and I had a restraining order filed within 24 hours. And that's when he raised his hand to hit me. But he didn't know who he was dealing with, because I had cameras installed the day I filed for divorce. And every threat, every outburst, every moment of aggression was documented. His lawyer saw the footage and told him to back off, told him he was making it worse for himself. But the worst was yet to come. Because Mark, in his desperation, decided to try one final move. He tried to paint me as unstable. He told his lawyer I was mentally ill, that I'd been erratic for months, that I'd threatened him. He tried to flip the script entirely, make me the villain, and his family backed him up. His mother called my lawyer and said I'd always been dramatic and paranoid. His sister submitted a statement saying I'd been aggressive at family gatherings. It was disgusting. They were trying to gaslight me legally, trying to make a judge think I was the problem, that I was making this all up, that I was the abuser. I felt like I was losing my mind all over again. How could they lie like this? How could they look themselves in the mirror? But they didn't know I was already one step ahead, because I'd kept a journal for the entire year. Every time Mark came home late, I wrote it down. Every time he snapped at me, I documented it. Every time he made me feel small, I recorded the date and time. I had a year's worth of evidence showing the slow erosion of my mental health because of his lies, showing how he'd isolated me, manipulated me, gaslit me, and I had text messages. Messages I'd sent to friends saying I felt like I was going crazy, messages where I'd questioned whether I was overreacting, messages that showed I wasn't unstable. I was being abused. Emotionally. Psychologically. And now they were trying to finish the job by painting me as the aggressor. My lawyer presented everything to the judge. The journal. The texts. The credit card statements. The hotel receipts. The screenshots of Mark's messages to Jessica. The recordings of him screaming at my door. The police report from the night he showed up drunk. It was devastating. Thorough. Undeniable. And that's when the real victim walked into the room. Jessica. She'd been subpoenaed to testify, and when she sat on that stand, she broke down. She admitted everything, how Mark had lied to her too. Told her I was abusive, told her we were separated, told her he was going to leave me. She'd believed him. She'd been used just like I had. And when she found out the truth, when she realized he'd lied to both of us, she came forward. She didn't have to, but she did. The judge ruled in my favor. Full stop. I got the house. I got alimony. I got everything I asked for. Mark's reputation was destroyed. His company found out about the affair because Jessica had been his subordinate, which meant he'd violated workplace policies. He was demoted. His family stopped speaking to him when they realized their lies hadn't worked. And Jessica? She quit. Started therapy. Started rebuilding her life. As for me, I'm still healing. Some days are harder than others. Some days I wake up and forget, just for a moment, that my marriage is over, and then I remember, and it hurts all over again. But I'm not broken. I'm stronger than I've ever been. I bought new furniture, I painted the walls, I planted a garden, I started taking salsa classes. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with because I'd been so consumed by trying to fix a marriage that was already dead. I wake up every morning in a house that's mine. No lies, no walking on eggshells, no wondering where he is or who he's with. I'm free. And that freedom? It's worth every painful moment it took to get here. My ex-husband? Last I heard, he's living in a one-bedroom apartment, still trying to convince people he's the victim, still blaming me, still refusing to take responsibility. But that's not my problem anymore. He's not my problem anymore. Stay until the end because I'm about to tell you the one thing every victim needs to hear. Every person who's been lied to, gaslit, manipulated, or betrayed. Every person who's questioned their sanity because someone they loved made them feel crazy. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not too sensitive. Your gut is telling you something because something is wrong, and you don't need permission to trust yourself. You don't need proof to honor your feelings. You don't need anyone to validate your experience. If something feels off, it probably is, and you have every right to investigate, every right to ask questions, every right to demand honesty. And if they call you crazy for it, if they blame you, if they make you feel like you're the problem, that's not love, that's control, that's manipulation, and you deserve so much better. Don't wait for the perfect moment to leave. Don't wait until you have all the answers. Don't wait until they admit what they've done, because they might never admit it. They might never apologize. They might never take responsibility. And if you wait for that, you'll be waiting forever. You are enough. You were always enough. Their betrayal is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their character. And you don't have to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. You don't have to silence your pain to protect their reputation. You don't have to forgive before you're ready. Take your time. Heal at your own pace. Surround yourself with people who believe you, who support you, who don't ask you to justify your pain or prove your trauma. And when you're ready, walk away and don't look back. Because on the other side of this pain is a life you can't even imagine yet. A life where you wake up and feel peace. Where you don't question every word, every motive, every glance. Where you trust yourself again. Where you're free. And that life? It's waiting for you. You just have to be brave enough to choose it. I did. And if I can do it, so can you. I promise.